Now available in paperback and ebook. The Man Who Rules the World. John Haynes must bring together men and gods to overcome a threat that seeks to destroy the planet. The Man Who Rules the World. Now available in paperback and e-readers everywhere. Now, the foundations for making someone a leader start out with God, who created the earth, and as he created the earth, he created the order of leadership that started with him being at the top of the order, and his son, Jesus Christ, being under him. And as he sent his son to the earth by being conceived by the Holy Spirit to go out and sacrifice his life, this basically established the standard for leadership that all men follow. And under the order of God as related to leadership, he established this whole standard of leadership so that men could have an example to follow. And that's where we see how a leader is made, because a leader is made by two things. A leader is made by the ability to follow the leadership of another man, and he's also made by his life experiences. Now, a leader first starts out as a follower, and a leader starts out as a follower because as a man is a blank slate, a man knows absolutely nothing about anything and needs the guidance and teaching of another man to show him how things work. So that man has to learn how to follow first before he can lead, and he has to learn how to follow first because he knows absolutely nothing about the structures of authority. And that's the first thing a person has to learn in order to be made into a leader, is learn about how to submit to authority, and submit to authority for two reasons. One is to show respect for those who are in charge, and two is to go out and be in a place where they are looking to learn, because the only way you can learn is to first learn how to respect the authority of others. And you also learn because you have to take instruction and direction from those who are in authority. So that starts the foundation of leadership, which basically is started by that person learning to submit to the authority of God. And as they learn to submit to the authority of God, they start to get scaffolded under the structure of God's natural order. And as they get scaffolded under the structure of God's natural order, this is where Jesus, his son, starts as the ruler of all, being the authority over all, then starts to give men the leadership and instruction under his order. And that's how a leader starts to be made in his order. That leader starts to get made because they first, again, acknowledge the authority above them. Then they learn to submit to that authority, and that's where they start to put themselves in a place where they can start receiving the instruction that they need, because as they follow the God, they learn how to follow in the lead of an order and a structure. And this is where they can start to being made into leaders, because again, a person is a blank slate. They really don't know anything at all, and they can't know anything at all until they learn how to submit to an authority that can teach them how things work. And that's from God's order that you get men who become leaders, and these leaders become stewards over their homes and their businesses. And these men, because they have been given authority by God as related to being men, this is where these leaders start to get made. And again, they're made by their ability to submit and follow the leadership of God. And as they become leaders, it's their job to develop this whole structure and continue to replicate it as related to making men leaders out of their sons and other men. So that's how a leader is made. Again, yes, God does give men those roles as related to leadership because he made the man first, and he made the man the head. However, in order for that man to be in that head position, he has to be in a position under God, and he has to develop and grow into that role of leader. And that takes time to develop. As this boy is raised to become a man, he has to learn those first, to respect the authority of God first, and then learn how to respect the authority of men. And as he learns to follow this hierarchy in God's order, this is how a boy learns how to lead as related to the basics of leadership. Because if you can't respect authority, then you cannot be a leader in the future. Because if you can't respect the authority who came before you, then you're not going to receive respect as an authority figure yourself. And that's how many men, again, learn leadership. They learn to respect another man, and then they receive respect themselves when they come into an authority position. And it takes time for a man to develop those types of leadership skills, and that's done through his life experiences, because a man has to go through life experiences, and these life experiences basically shape how he will become either a leader, or if he or a follower, or someone who is just not fit for the structure at all. Now, in order for that man to again develop these life experiences, he has to go out into the world, and he has to learn about how the world works. And that man, as he's learning how the world works, he's developing male life skills and male survival skills that will allow him to form alliances with other people. And as he develops relationships with other people, he develops interpersonal skills that will allow him to connect with people personally. And as he's developing these interpersonal skills, as he's working with people, he's learning how to motivate people and bring people together. That's all part of leadership skills, is the ability to go out and learn how to bring people together, because that's what Christ did when he was on the earth. He brought people together to learn his gospel, and that was an example of his leadership, in that he was motivating people to come and follow him. And that's the same thing that a leader does, is he comes and he motivates people to come together of their own will and volition. And again, leaders can find the best in people and motivate people to be their best. They are not like what people would call a manager, because a manager is a person who just manages a situation and gets through a day, and they really don't have that personal connection with people. They don't have that passion or that spark. They don't have that love for people and love for things that they're doing. That's the difference between a manager and a leader. A manager just wants to get through a day and get stuff done, whereas a leader is passionate about what they do and wants to see people be their very best, and wants to see people go out here and achieve their very best. That's what Christ wants for us, as related to us living the abundant life he wants us to live. And again, a leader wants the best for their people, and wants the best for all of the people that they either are working or living with. And they want to motivate those people to go be their very best. And again, that's made from life experiences that people have. I mean, if you had an easy life, it's going to be hard for you to be able to motivate people. But if you have had struggles, you can possibly be in a position to lead people, because a person who's had really hard struggles, they can look at how other people, how they have been treated in the past, and not want people to be treated that badly, and also can be sympathetic and understand where that person is coming from. And as they're sympathetic and understand where that person is coming from, they can go out here and inspire or motivate that person to be better, or try harder, or go out here and see where things that they can do, because they've been in that place before. They can see where that person is in that place before, because they've walked a mile in those shoes, and they know what that person is going through. So they can give that person advice and tips on how to be able to get through a situation. That's what a person who's a leader can help them do. And they can help people work towards solutions, because leaders are not just about, again, managing a situation and maintaining whatever's there. they're also about looking to help people improve their quality of life, and they're also about trying to help people be their very best. That's what a leader is. And again, a leader cannot be born. As I see it, they have to be made. They have to be made again by God and learning about God as their foundation. And then on top of that, they're made from their experiences, like in the case of Joseph, who went through a hard experience as related to, again, being sold by his brothers, being put in jail due to Potiphar's wife. I mean, these experiences were rough, but they hardened him and developed his discipline and resolve so that he could become the governor of Egypt. And in the case of Moses, he was the prince of Egypt, but he didn't learn how to be a leader until he wound up in that situation where he murdered the Egyptian and had to be in the desert for years. I mean, leaders get made from their experiences. They get made from their experiences, and they get made from the hardships that they've gone through. This helps them understand other people because they've been in bad situations. This makes them empathize for other people. This makes them see other people and makes them see other people and see who they are. I mean, this is something I saw in the Iron Man movie back in 2008 with Tony Stark. Again, he was a rich, disconnected individual who was just completely out of touch from people. But it wasn't until he had the tragedy that led to him becoming into the presence of Yinsen that he learned about about people and how his weapons were impacting people. And that's what made him into a leader, was when he became, because again, he was a boss running Stark Enterprise that was given to him by his parents, but he didn't become a leader until he had that experience. And again, that's why I say leaders are made and not born, because people are born into wealth, people are born into money, but that doesn't make them a leader, because a leader is shaped by their experiences. This is what I've seen watching Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen. I mean, he was a guy who basically had been out here. He wanted to play soccer, but then he got injured, and that's when he found his passion for cooking. And as he found his passion for cooking, he went through hard times that basically shaped him into the man that he is. And again, that's something that happens to every man. It's those hard experiences that make that man a leader, because he can see where his team has gone because he's been there himself. He's been in these experiences, and he can teach and guide people from those mistakes. And he can show people why things work because he has an understanding of how things work. This is something I had to learn myself out here building the SJS Direct imprint over years of making mistakes, going through the learning curve of publishing, going through the learning curve of how to lay out books and how to design and how to hire people to go out and do work that I can't do, like covers or interior art. It's all a process. And again, when you get to a point where you get enough life experience, you can teach someone else. And again, teaching is part of the leadership role, because the leader's job is not to just tell people what to do, but to show them how to do it. It's to show them how to do it so that they can develop and master a craft, or learn more about something to the point where they can become a master themselves. That's all part of leadership. And again, leadership is more hands-on than a boss. A boss will sit in an office away from his people, but a leader is on the ground with the people, teaching them as they're going along and coming up with solutions. Again, the leader is sitting right there with the people, helping them out at the same time. And that's what makes a man a leader. And a leader can only be made, again, by that foundation in God. And it's that foundation in God that basically gives him the building blocks for structure and order, and creates the environment where they learn how to teach. And it's the life experience that has it, where that person has the substance to be able to have that empathy, to understand, so that they can work with others, so that they can learn what they need to know. and they can learn how to grow because they're in an environment where they're being supported by someone who truly cares about them, and wants to see them be their very best, the same way Christ wants us to be our very best, because a leader wants to see you go out here and be a person who can go out on their own. That's what a leader wants to see, and that's why leaders are made and not born, because again, born people, again, they are born, again, a blank slate. This blank slate really can't do anything, and if stuff is given to them, they don't appreciate it. No, it's not until you've gone through that hardship and worked through things that you know how to relate to others and relate to where they're coming from. And again, a leader can relate to people and relate to their struggles to help them be a better person from their experience. And that's the difference between a leader and a manager. A manager just is indifferent and disconnected from people, but a leader is a hands-on person who wants to see those people be their very best and do their very best and go on to take themselves to another level. Now, I hope this explains things to the viewer who requested this video, and if you want to request a video, you can send a donation for a minimum of $15 to the Cash App or the PayPal by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my books that show you examples of leadership, you can pick up books like The Temptation of John Haynes, where John Haynes becomes a CEO and becomes a leader, or you can pick up other books that I have done that teach you some leadership skills, like the books of the Simp series and many of my men's issues books. You can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.